What's up, guys? So, today I am going to handle today's stream a little bit differently. It's going to be more of me asking questions, possibly, because it's something that really frustrates and confuses me, and I gotta be clear about this. This is not really me speaking from personal experience entirely. It's more of other people sharing their experiences with me. And then I realize that I understand where they're coming from and I have experienced it in my own special way. So just hear me out and then we will figure out, I guess, which direction this takes. So, on being bossy. This is going to be me talking about hi, Gabby. Just in case you post comments and I don't acknowledge it immediately. I know that you're posting. It's just that I want to go straight to the point and then come back to whatever you say. So just to give everyone a heads up. So this is more so of instances when people, particularly girls. Let's talk about girls since I'm a girl. I'll be able to, pick a side. When we are being accused of being bossy. And let me define, just to be clear, what I mean by being bossy. It's like whenever we are saying stuff, and for some reason, the person who is receiving the message interprets this, interprets this as the girl trying to be controlling. Or in my case, I'm gonna pick an example, the one example that I can think of where this happened to me, and that was absolutely not the case. So one time I was with a guy, and then I was simply voicing some stuff that I would like to see or experience or have in a relationship. And then for some reason, he had to absolutely go nuts about it. I'm like, okay, this is the best opportunity for us to have a conversation about being close and intimate and this and that. And for some reason, you're acting really defensive and it's really irritating. So, why is the case? And then he ended up telling me that he gets like annoyed by me because it's like I feel down if I don't get stuff my way. He phrased it as, oh, look, the princess doesn't get it her way, so therefore she's all down and sad. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's just that there is stuff that can clearly be better, and I don't see it being better. So I am initiating the conversation in an attempt to improve the quality of our relationship, but for some reason, you are being defensive about it. I am not attacking you. I am just trying to pick a flaw from our relationship and improve it. I'm not trying to be controlling, ever. Every person is their own individual being, and with your own individuality, you can be whatever. Just because you're with someone doesn't mean that you have to change yourself. I don't know why when you get in a relationship you would need to change. That defeats the whole purpose. The person is supposed to just like you and love you for how you are already. So if the person finds you perfect, they wouldn't try to be changing you. That's what I mean. So in other experiences that other people have shared with me is someone in my family one time was seeing some guy, and then my family member is the kind of person who she is genuinely concerned about your well-being. She's the kind of person who states the obvious, because although stuff is obvious, when someone reminds you of something, you realize that if it weren't for their reminder, something very obvious would be forgotten. So, to give an example, it was one time my family member, I don't want to say any names because I'm pretty sure they would know who it is. But anyway, someone who I was close to at some point in my life, she shared with me that she was telling a guy, look, the weather is going to be really hot tomorrow, so make sure that you take a hat with you and sunglasses and wear sunscreen and bring a gallon of water, not just a bottle, a gallon. So of course the guy went ahead and did his thing, and he forgot most of the stuff that she had mentioned in the little checklist, especially the water. So the guy, after his day, and he was like, "Oh, it was really hot, and I didn't have much to drink for a long time." And then she was like, "Oh, what happened? Did you pack your water?" And then he was like, "No." And then he got annoyed at her, even though she didn't really feel offended nor was trippy about the fact that he didn't follow her advice or anything. But he decided to react to it as, "Oh, you're going to say to me, I told you so," even though she didn't say this, like, at all. He was like, "I know you're going to tell me that I'm dumb and I told you so and this and that, but I don't need to be hearing that right now." And then, of course, she was understandably shocked, and she's like, "If I'm telling you something, it's not because I'm trying to be bossy, it's because I care about your well being, but you're accusing me of being bossy." Like, he told her that she was being all bossy and junk. And I'm like, no, that is so, like, absurd. So it can also happen where with girls too. Like, the guy may advise you with something, like stay away from these dramatic people or something, because they're gonna get you in trouble and trigger you and your moods and whatnot. And for some reason, she goes ahead and defies that, and it's like, "No, I can handle this." And then you come home and then share the story of the drama, and he doesn't want to hear about it because he was proactive about how to save you, how to spare you from it, which is don't go there and ignore them. But you decided to not do that. So why are you coming home and whining and complaining if you did not take the step that it took for you to avoid that drama in the first place? I cannot feel sympathetic for someone who deliberately walks into the lion's den. So, anyways, but that's what I mean by bossy stuff. It's like you are not trying to be controlling of anybody, but for some reason, the person who is listening to you interprets this as you being controlling. And I'm like, what makes people think that way? Is it the phrasing that we are utilizing, or is it the fact that we are maybe recommending something for you that we believe is going to work for you, but then you look at it as you thinking that the person thinks that you're stupid or something? See what I mean? So it's not that, it's just that for me personally, even though I'm someone who can handle most things on her own, lately I have been under some stresses that have made me be particularly scatterbrained. Like, when I went out to pay rent today, I had to do a massive U turn because I completely forgot to bring my money with me. And it was because mom, because she can't do it given her schedule, she gives me her card so that on her behalf I can pay for her stuff as well, before 5 o'clock. That's when everything closes. But no, she gave me her card, so I just looked at my wallet and I'm like, okay, I see a card. Usually it's mine, but it turns out that mine, I had it in another purse when I went out yesterday, and I did not take a wallet with me. So then I was like, ah, fuck, I forgot my money, so I have to turn around. It would have been nice to have someone remind me that I used a different purse yesterday. Mom sometimes says that because she got tired of hearing me say, I forgot my wallet or my card in my gym clothes, or I forgot this in my other bag, this and that." So she had a habit of telling me those little things, and I'm like, "Thanks a lot for telling me, because although I thought I would remember, I ended up forgetting." That is not my mom being bossy. She is just looking out for me. So why would someone else whom you're trying to look after react in such a defensive way? See what I mean? So, anyways, guys, I don't expect for this to make a whole lot of sense. I don't expect for this to be something relatable. I just wanted to rant about it from the little bit of experience that I have with it myself, and then the stories that other people have shared. But yeah, usually if someone tells you something, it's because they're trying to take care of you. I wouldn't say that they think that you're incapable of independently going about your matters. It's just that your performance as an adult may be affected by so many factors that you're not even considering. Today at work, it wasn't particularly my best day. Like, I had trouble focusing, and I just remembered that I forgot to submit some paperwork over the computer. So I'll have to either do that if someone doesn't catch it for me first thing tomorrow, or even though it's part of the routine, I just forgot, period, because my mind was just not there. And when you have stuff happening in other sectors of your life, your concentration is impacted no matter what. So that worries me sometimes, because I don't want to be doing something dangerous like driving and then I zone out and something happens because my mind is not there. So if you have someone in your life who is like that, who's constantly just checking after you, I wouldn't be offended by that. On the contrary, just appreciate them, because at least they're taking a moment to be observant about how you are, and then if they notice something different about your routine, they'll point it out, and that can help you lead a better life. I would love to have someone like that, um, at all times, but I don't. So I'm glad that I don't, because it forces me to be able to handle stuff on my own. But at the same time, it would be nice to just have that, someone who knows me well enough to be like, "Hey, yo, Zam, you're tripping. Don't forget, or take care of this and take care of that." So making lists certainly helps, but anyways, sometimes I don't have time to even make the list. So anyways, I think I'm done with my rambling. Let me see what you guys are saying now. I know, once you start, you finish. Some people just take things the wrong way, or just don't like being told to do things and get defensive. It's weird. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I'm like, I mean, I'm not someone who's commanding people. I was raised more as a person who follows instructions well and can be instructed. And maybe that's the reason I have been struggling to maybe think of myself as a leader or transition into leadership roles, because I was not designed to be the one taking control. I was designed or brought up to follow authority and follow commands instead. So the idea of people coming up to me, which it happens a lot in my present day, like people coming up to me to make decisions. I'm like, no, you need to consult the actual person who is in charge of this, and they go like, oh, but you got great leadership traits. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm not used to telling people what to do, especially if it's something that I can own on my own, if I may have to say so again. So, it's strange. So for me, being accused of being bossy is particularly offensive, because that's not who I am. I'm never trying to make someone do something for me in a coercive way, or feeling like I have power over someone. No, it's just that I spend a grand deal of my day observing things, and needless to say, I can identify areas of opportunity with other people, and then also on myself. So if I say something about someone else, it's not really with any ill intent. It's just that you're good, you can be doing better, and this is how I think you could be doing better, especially if you report that you're struggling with something. A third person can always see things that you cannot see through your eyes, and I'm so appreciative of that. So again, to accuse someone of being bossy, I would say, unless it's very, very, very obvious that this person is very controlling and possessive, and they display those traits of being someone who's like the obsessed kind of controlling, then yeah, that's a major red flag. But if it's someone who's literally just giving you advice on how to lead a better life, even if it's repetitive and if you have it engraved in your brain, I wouldn't make the other person feel bad about giving you reminders, you know? Because for me, what happened was once I did that, I stopped doing it and I felt like I was beginning to fail at being supportive of someone. For me, part of being supportive is if I have a good retention, if I have a good memory, I want to be there using it to help you keep up with your stuff when you're overwhelmed. But but if you don't want that, okay, cool, you can let me know, but definitely do not be calling me things that I am not because that doesn't make me likely to find you easy to talk to. And it's important for me to be able to talk to you. So at work, I have that issue sometimes that I need reassurance on something and I know whom I should go to directly. But if this person has given me a precedent of me going to them and they, I don't know, exhibiting some kind of weird attitude or something, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be spoken in that tone. It's awful. I don't like that. So I'm going to speak to someone else. And then that's where in the chain of communication something gets lost. Because you, instead of going directly to your best source, you're using an intermedium, an alternative intermedium. And then the way that the other person is going to communicate it to your main source is not going to be the same as you going directly to them because something will be lost in that link of communication. So again, that's why I say you shouldn't make someone feel bad about them telling you something because at some point this person who respects you so much is going to opt for not telling you things and they'll tell someone else to maybe help them get to you, and that's when stuff gets messy. So, and I that particularly I can say that that's from personal experience. Like I said, it happens at work, but also it has happened in my personal life, except that in my personal life, because it is personal, I do not pick someone to deliver a message for me. Of course not, but it was frustrating having that experience of you having good intentions. You want to be there for someone, you want to be supportive because this someone sometimes would say that they would like to have someone involved and being attentive and junk. And the moment you start doing that, they don't appreciate it. What the fuck? you know? So, anyways, I'm just venting at this point. So yeah, you guys, that's all that I have to say on this matter. Hopefully you understood where I'm. What the hell? Hopefully you understood where I am coming from. There you go. When I cannot talk, you know that I've had a long week. So, and it's just Monday. Hi, Zam. Just saying, hey, can't stick around this time, but have a good day. Hey, Jamie. Bye, Jamie. That's awesome. I do that a lot too. Like, hey, guys, can't sit tight and chat, but I'll catch up with you. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and let me know your thoughts on this one. And if you are not very clear on what this means, still good. That means you either do not experience this or you are not a perpetrator of accusing someone of being bossy, which is not cool. But then there's also the possibility that I completely did not define well what it's like to be bossy, even though it is a thing. So my experience with it is not quite as um, maybe severe as other people have it. So I can only share what I have been able to really perceive for myself. Anyway, all right, guys, I'll see you soon.